los terroristas.
And do the Harlem Shake.
Back to the Sportswire. I just saw the Bluefish do like to have fun. They put up a Harlem Shake video not too long ago. Were you involved in getting that together?
Yes, I was. As the PR director and marketing guy, I had something to do with that.
Very cool. So one thing I kind of wanted to bring up is some of the former Major League Baseball players that have come through the Bluefish organization. Two names come to mind because I saw them down in New Haven when they were playing for the Ravens, and then they showed up on the Bluefish roster. Quentin McCracken and Angel Echevarria. Obviously, was that before you came on, or was that during your time?
Yeah, those guys were both before my time.
Okay.
It's still neat to see certain guys that have played already in Connecticut,
Yeah.
especially right down the road in New Haven, and then come right over to the Bluefish, especially Echevarria, who was actually grew up in Bridgeport.
Yeah. But there's other names on the list: Edgardo Alfonso, Willie Mopena, who you said had a pretty decent push last year or the year before.
Yep, Willie Mopena was with us in 2010, and then he got signed off our team. Went to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So 2011, he gets called up to the Diamondbacks, and I think he had a stretch where he had 5 home runs in 7 games right when he got called up. I mean, this guy's just a big home run hitter. So at the time, the home run derby was at Chase Field. Right. So they were a big Twitter push for Willie Mo to get into the home run derby. They called it #Willie Mo for Derby, and it definitely got some notoriety on NBC.
Wow. Did he actually make it? I don't think
he did not make it.
But he's currently playing in Japan.
Yes.
And it's amazing. Just a quick side note. I've noticed a lot of Japan is big for two things: baseball and wrestling. And, no, actual professional wrestling.
Oh, okay.
They are a hotbed for athletes, for professional wrestlers to hone their craft. And it's baseball too. We see a lot of Japanese baseball players coming over.
Yeah, actually one guy on our team currently, Hayden Penn, spent the last 2 years in Japan.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yep, and then he finally came back to the States this year.
So let's go over some of the roster, the current roster now.
Yes.
Who do you see as being a big impact this year?
Yeah, one guy, definitely Hayden Penn. He's a guy that actually made it to the major leagues at 20 years old with the Baltimore Orioles.
Wow.
Yeah, within 2 years of being drafted, made it to the major leagues. Didn't have as much success as probably he wanted in the majors, and that's why he ended up going to Japan the last 2 years, pitched well, and now he's coming back to the States to try to get back with an affiliated team. And then we actually have 2 guys on our roster, 2 pitchers that are currently living in Connecticut. Jeff Fulcino from Monroe. Actually pitched for the Houston Astros and the San Diego Padres in 2011. He's going to be our closer this season. And Mike Parisi, who had a cup of coffee in the majors with the St. Louis Cardinals, currently lives in Stamford, and he was actually our opening day starter yesterday.
Wow.
And just to snowball off our opening day victory yesterday, which is 1-0.
Yep.
That's right.
The guy who got the victory was Matt Somo, who was a University of New Haven alum.
Wow.
Who actually made our team from the open tryout we had.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yes, that's a neat little story there.
Wow.
And last I checked, obviously only one game. The Bluefish are on top of the division.
That's right.
1-0. Actually, in your division, you guys are the only ones that are 1-0.
Right.
Everybody else is 0-1.
That's right.
So that's you guys got sole possession of first.
That's right.
Step one.
And step one.
Let's keep it
Just
that
keep
way.
it going.
Have you? Well,
No, go ahead.
I don't know. Well, have you guys ever? I see a lot of talent that you guys see the Bluefish see. Has there ever been a situation where a major league club wanted to grab a player and there was some sort of a dispute, or just you guys were not able to make an easy transition? Does that ever happen?
It doesn't happen that
Oh.
way. It's always a smooth transition. There's actually a set fee that the
Oh.
MLB team will pay an Atlantic League team
Oh,
for a player, depending on what level they're going to go to, if it's AAA, AA, single A.
right.
So it's very simple. All the major league teams, affiliate teams know this.
Oh, okay.
So it's never really a dispute. It's pretty much they'll call up, say, I want player X,
Right.
and we're going to send them to AAA. So we say, okay, here's the salary, and we just send them on their way. Because our league is there to try to get these guys back to
Right.
where they want to be, try to get to the major leagues.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So you get to see talent develop when you know, as you keep track of the Bluefish, you'll see talent grow. So
Yeah,
it's
and
definitely something.
and it's certainly twofold because you see those young guys that are just trying to get a shot.
Right.
You know, try to get into affiliated baseball, get back into it that haven't been in the major leagues yet. And then on the other side of things, you've seen ex-major leaguers.
Mhm.
They'll come back trying to resurrect themselves or just playing for the love of the game at this point.
Wow.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of an ex-major leaguer, possible future Hall of Famer in my opinion,
Okay.
you guys had Roger Clemens come into Bridgeport, right?
No, we actually went to, he signed with the Sugarland Skeeters
Okay.
of our league last season, and the Bridgeport Bluefish were actually the first team to go play against Roger Clemens
Wow.
last August. So that was certainly unique, to say the least. Got a lot of notoriety there. ESPN showed the game live.
Which is unheard of for a
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
And how'd you guys do against Roger Clemens?
He threw a shutout against them.
Oh.
He only pitched 3 innings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Roger Clemens, this is kind of like off the topic of Bluefish, but how do you feel about basically there being no Hall of Famers going into the Hall of Fame this year? Because this is now getting into the class of the steroid era.
Wow, that's
And that's a great question. I mean, personally, I'm a little disappointed because I'm a Mets fan,
okay.
and to see Mike Piazza not be a first
Yeah,
ballot Hall of Famer,
absolutely.
it's because nothing's ever been proven with him being
Right.
related to steroids, but just because he's in this era and he's a power hitter,
Right.
they're gonna relate him to these Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa's.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate,
It
but
is.
it's what the game is right now,
Right.
or was for that matter.
Exactly. I mean, I've been definitely vocal when it comes to that because I feel no matter what they did in their personal lives in terms of whether they took steroids or not, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, who were Barry Bonds being the greatest hitter in baseball at the time, and Roger Clemens and Mark McGwire, all these guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, when it comes down to it, they made the game of baseball better, regardless if they cheated or whatever. And I'm not saying to condone cheating; they should put a separate wing, like all the eras, like when they have the era of the women's baseball in one section because of World War II. Have a steroid era section. I mean, this way that whether or not the guys admitted they took steroids or not, they have a section.
I mean, I appreciate your opinion, man, but I would have to disagree.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know, it's like if I did my job, I did it, but I did it in a way I wasn't supposed to, and then I get a raise.
And I can understand that.
It gets kind of shady. So, yeah, I think it'd have a tough time flying with that. But.
Yeah, I see it as essentially like playing the system because at that time it wasn't frowned upon by these organizations.
Oh.
So I mean, in a way, you have to embrace the error because it did happen,
Mm-hmm.
and there were certain players that stood out in that. So I believe, in some facet, they should be notarized in the Hall of Fame. These guys.
Absolutely.
Well, I do have another question.
Okay.
Being that sometimes things happen. I know in the NFL they just had a controversial rule change where now the runner, if he's in open field, he cannot take his head down if he's going to be tackled, which threw everybody in an uproar. For me, I thought that was crazy because it's almost instinctual to put your head down when two guys are coming at you. Is there anything in baseball that you see that you would like to see? Hey, maybe we can tweak that a bit. Maybe that's not really helpful to the game. Are there any rules that you see, or even you, Vinny, that you guys see that should be looked at, or
I mean, I think it's going back to the performance enhancing drugs situation. I mean, certainly what they're doing there is great. I mean, our league actually goes along with Major League Baseball there, where if a guy has a 50-game suspension, we'll recognize that.
Wow.
We won't sign a guy because of that.
Really?
Yeah, because we have drug testing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And so that's definitely the biggest thing, I think. And they're working on very diligently to correct that.
All right.
Yeah, no, performance-enhancing drugs are a big issue nowadays, and it's gone into, I think, baseball and football being the two biggest sports right now. I haven't heard much about it in baseball or hockey, basketball or hockey.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, and I really like the idea that you guys are going along with this to keep the players healthy because it's more aware now.
Certainly.
Wow. Okay.
So, who do you see as some of the Bluefish's biggest rivals in your league?
It's definitely Long Island Ducks. It's
Okay.
a crosstown rivalry. We actually have a what we call it's the Ferry Cup series. We have Ferry Cup with the Bridgeport and Port Jeff Ferry,
Okay.
and we took it home last year. So we're hoping to hold on to it again.
Okay.
That's our biggest rivalry because we're currently it's just an 18 league.
Right.
So it seems like teams are paired by rivalries.
Okay. Do you see any possibility of expansion anytime soon?
Absolutely. They're actually looking to expand more into Texas and
Okay.
and down south with the Atlantic League.
Really?
Because last year was the first time they instituted a team from Texas, the Sugar Land Skeeters, and it went very well. Travel was actually pretty simple for all the teams. So they're looking to add 2 more teams in Texas and 1 in Louisiana, make it a 12-team league, and then seeing where it goes from there. They're looking currently in Virginia as well.
So they're basically trying to make this a nationwide independent league.
Certainly.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a great level of baseball, and they certainly think they can expand on this.
And that would definitely give a lot more of these players opportunities
Yes.
to play.
Yes.
Now, obviously, and this might get into some. How is it that your team is funded? I mean, you guys have an owner, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys funded specifically by advertising and promotions and stuff?
Yeah.
And players get paid salaries.
Yeah, players get paid. It's funded by any business. It's for us, it's sponsorship and ticket sales. That's our main revenue driver right there. And yeah, these guys are paid.
So we're gonna have to try to set something up in Connecticut because I mean there are 8 minor league football teams in Connecticut actually, and we're trying to help them get some some recognition like the Bluefish have, like the Connecticut Tigers have because it seems to me minor league baseball has a much bigger following than minor league football. So what ideas could you give? Let's say if a minor league football owner came up to you and said, "What could I do to help generate a fan base?"
I think it's going after families. It's trying to make not necessarily a football team, but an entertainment venue.
Okay.
Because you're going to be going against probably movie theaters, aquariums, that type of stuff. So you're just trying to make it a venue where it's family-friendly entertainment.
Right.
And football is certainly entertainment for many people.
Right.
So I mean that's what you can snowball off of and try to make that thing successful.
Awesome. I think that's definitely a great tip to improve the attendance at minor pro football games. And well, I want to thank you for coming on, Paul.
Yes,
thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and what is the Twitter handle for the Bridgeport Bluefish?
Twitter handle is at BPT Bluefish.
Okay, at BPT Bluefish. We'll have a link on our page. Sportswire is actually following the Bluefish now, so you can definitely find out the tweets by following us as well. And thank you for coming on, and we look forward to a great season with the Bluefish.
Definitely. Opening day, April 26th, ballpark in our yard.
All right.
26.
And we will be back in just a minute.